Hey, welcome into the program. This is Breaking the Huddle. I'm Joel Klatt. This show is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. It is the one fans deserve. We've got playoff previews ready to go here today. I'm very excited. I'm going to show you all the film from the Rose Bowl matchup, Michigan and Alabama, and the Sugar Bowl matchup, Texas and Washington, and get you prepared for the way that these teams like to attack their opponent and what they need to do to have success in these playoff games. Let's start with the Rose Bowl. Let's start with Michigan against Alabama, and I'm going to start with the Michigan defense, okay? Because the Michigan defense has got a huge problem on their hands, and that is the fact that they're going to have to try to stop Jalen Milroe. Now, Jalen Milroe is this style of quarterback, this running style of quarterback that can also throw it downfield that Michigan, quite frankly, has not seen all season long. This is a tremendous matchup, as you can see, right? These two teams, in so many ways, are built similarly. They want to play at the line of scrimmage. They are built to play a tough-oriented style of game, and that's what the Michigan defense is going to have to do. The biggest key for them is going to be first down. I keep coming back to this idea of forcing the opposition into a situation where they're uncomfortable. And for me, you want to get Alabama into second and third down and obvious passing situations. How do you do that? By stopping the run on first down. Let's take a look at the way that Michigan does that. They've got great first down defense because at the defensive line, they do a great job of escaping blocks and defeating blocks, even double teams. So watch as you get a swim move, you get a defeat of a double team, and then look at all the maze that you've got going on right here, okay? This is a first down run play that is going nowhere because the double team gets no movement. There's great pursuit. There's great gap control. There's great strength at the line of scrimmage, and now all of a sudden it's 2nd and 9, and now you're in an obvious passing situation. Okay, that's where Michigan is at their best. And then they can do this, the stunts on defense, providing pressure in a passing situation. They're one of the best at this, these stunts where they're going to loop around. But one of the things that they do is that they maintain their rush integrity while they do these stunts and loops. So watch, you get a free rusher here, but the looper is coming right where the quarterback is trying to escape. So as Tagovailoa is trying to escape, he's escaping right into a looping linebacker, and it's a scoop and score, and Michigan is able to get it done. Okay, so a stunt is how they provided the pressure there against Maryland. It's, by the way, how they provided the pressure on Kyle McCord on that last play against Ohio State when he ended up throwing an interception. I wouldn't say, Michigan doesn't have the singular great pass rusher like they did with Aiden Hutchinson or Ajabo a couple of years ago. But as a group, the way that they can affect the passer is with those stunts and twists up front. So they've got to get them to obvious passing situations and then get home with rush integrity against Jalen Milroe. Now, offensively for Michigan, there's a lot of things going on, and yes, they want to run the football, but to me, it's actually going to be more about their passing game and J.J. McCarthy. Let's start with the scheme and how they try to scheme things up in order to get guys open. So you're going to see two tight ends, a running back, and the wide receiver right here. That's Cornelius Johnson, and he's set up tight. So when you get into this bunch set, what does it do? It invites everybody from Purdue here down near the line of scrimmage. But then you're going to have this little cheat motion, and this little inside to out motion does a lot of things, but I want you to see the leverage it creates. So now all of a sudden, Cornelius Johnson is the number one wide receiver, and you're going to affect this slot defender because Roman Wilson is the slot player now. Now he's the number 2 release. And now that he's the number 2 release, this corner has outside leverage, which is not good for a slot player because as you give a fake, you pull the linebackers down near the line of scrimmage because you were in that pistol step. There's a free safety that's way too deep here for Purdue, and because of the outside leverage, look at the space that's created for Roman Wilson. So that's a way that Michigan, through scheme, can throw the football, and I think that they're going to need to do that in particular on base downs just to keep Alabama honest on their defense, okay? And the other part of this is going to be J.J. McCarthy. He's going to need to play great. And part of that is the way that he does that with his legs. Watch here as the pocket collapses and he's able to escape, get loose, keep his eyes downfield, and still make a play down the field. This is what opposing defensive coaches talk about a lot with McCarthy, is that he's difficult to stop and he's their most special player because of these off-schedule plays that he can make. That one was against Purdue. This one's against Indiana. Watch as Indiana is going to have a little blitz over here on the offense's left side. Now, it's going to get home. They do a great job, and this is a breakdown in protection for Michigan, but McCarthy can escape. But now look at what he does. He's going to continue to control the field. He's going to tell his tight end, Colston Loveland, to go deep. What that does is it puts the defender in conflict. Now that conflict defender has to choose. Am I going to take McCarthy, who can run for a first down, or am I going to stay with my man and continue to cover Colston Loveland so he can go deep with the tight end, or he can come up and take the more immediate threat, which is J.J. McCarthy. He's got to take the more immediate threat, but McCarthy, because he pointed, he dumps the ball over the top, and look at the quality tight end right there. The youngster, Colston Loveland, takes it in for a touchdown. So those are things that Michigan's going to have to do offensively. I think that, yes, you're going to have to run the football, and that's the identity that Michigan wants to have on that side, but in a lot of ways, it's going to be McCarthy as well, trying to make plays with his feet. Let's go towards Alabama now. Alabama on the defensive side, one of the things that they have to do is play great in the short yardage. Okay, so this is 3rd and short against Georgia. Watch the commitment from Alabama of the second level to get to the ball carrier. Everybody up near the line of scrimmage, relying on those defenders in the back end that they won't get beat deep. Here's another short yardage. See, Michigan's one of the best short yardage running teams in the country, and this is going to be crucial because when they get in these situations, they've got to commit those resources from the second level to go ahead and stop that short yardage run. They did this great against Georgia. 3 different times on 3rd and short, Alabama was able to get stops. But again, look at the commitment and the fast flow from the linebackers in order to get to the point of attack and make the stop. This one's like 3rd and a foot, and they were still able to get a stop. So defensively, I think Alabama is going to have to commit resources in the short yardage to make sure that Michigan can't have those long drives, because those long drives are what end up churning out a lot of time of possession, and then you can not get your offense on the field, and there is Jalen Milroe on offense. So Milroe, let's take a look at what he does. This is his ability to affect you outside of the pocket. Watch as Milroe is going to run towards the outside wide receiver. He puts the defender in conflict, a lot like J.J. McCarthy, and it allows that opening right down the hash mark to open up, and then he's got the athleticism and speed to go ahead and run. So you need to spy him, really, right? Jalen Milroe is so dangerous running the football, you got to spy him. But he's really good when you spy him as well. So later in the game, what does LSU do in this case? They spy Jalen Milroe. Now you've got somebody sitting right in front of him. All right, buddy, you're not going to run now. Well, look at how calm he is. He locates the spy and he says, okay, I'm just going to throw. Now he turns over to this slant pass and he's got the slant and it's wide open. And guess what it is? It's a first down for Alabama. Boom. That's easy stuff right there. And Milroe makes it look easy. And I love what he's able to do on the offensive side. So his ability to run the football is going to lead to his ability to throw the football. So that's going to be a great matchup. I can't wait for that matchup. This Rose Bowl is going to be, in a lot of ways, maybe one of the more epic games that we could ever get. Hopefully the game lives up to the hype, because I think a lot of us are expecting something pretty special there in Pasadena on New Year's Day. When we come back, it's the Sugar Bowl. We've got Texas and Washington. We'll break down the film on Breaking the Huddle. All right, let's get into this Sugar Bowl. Should be a fantastic matchup in a lot of ways. You know, from the skill positions, this is the game that has more of a potential to be like a big, high-flying, high-scoring game between Washington and Texas. Both of these scoring offenses in the top 16. You know, defense hasn't been the strong suit necessarily for Washington, and the pass defense for Texas at times has struggled. But how is this thing going to materialize? Well, let's look at Texas first, and let's take a look at their offense, because it's not just their ability to throw the ball. I actually think it's been their ability to run the ball and be effective at the line of scrimmage that has really transformed them into this team that can be more consistent. I think there was no better example of this than the last 7 minutes against Alabama on the road earlier this year. So Alabama has 3 timeouts. There's 7:14 left in the game, and it's first down. And what does Texas do? They just decide to start pounding the rock and running the football. And once Alabama realizes this, what do you start to see? Now it's second down, and what do you start to see? They're loading up. Now you got 9 guys in this run front, and yet what does Texas do? They turn around and hand the ball off. And look at the movement that they get. Look at the second level blocking that they get. Far different than that fast flow that you saw from Alabama against Georgia. And look at this, Jonathan Brooks not contacted unless he's down the line, down the field, if you will. And he's all the way in there, and now you get a third and manageable. What do you do on third and manageable? Well, you can do this. This is a third down. Everybody knows you've got to convert, and it's the most important play of the game. Again, you know, there's a little over 5 minutes left. If you get this, now Alabama's going to have to drain their timeouts. It's a 2-possession game. What do? Do you throw it? No. It's Jonathan Brooks. And look at the blocking up front. Look at them cover up those guys, and look at them not allow that fast flow linebackers to get over the top. So their run game's going to have to show up against Washington. Okay, that offensive line's going to have to be dominant against Washington, and I think that they can be. And then they're going to have to be explosive on the outside throwing the football with Quinn Ewers. Now let's take a look at their defense. Their defense has to get pressure on Michael Penix. If they don't get pressure on Michael Penix, it's a wrap. Washington's going to win the game. And they need to do it with just 4 down, because like against Alabama, you got to have 7 guys in coverage because of what the wide receivers for Washington can provide. So here, what you got is a great structure where you've got 3 over 2 on the top side. You've got basically man down here with a free safety, and they do a really good job in this coverage of staying home and not allowing an open receiver to pop up. And what happens? They get home with the rush, and that's what they've got to do. They've got to get to Michael Penix in that back end. That pass rush is going to be so important. Here's another example of it, again, against Alabama early in the season, and you've only got a 4-man rush, and you've got 7 guys in coverage. So Bama's going to send everybody out, all 5 free releases, and you're trying to get somebody open. But guess what? Nobody's open. Why? Because they play this really solid zone behind it. You've got 4 underneath players right at the sticks, and you've got 3 deep zone players behind it. So there's no big plays. Milrose got nowhere to go with the ball, and look at the effort up front. What do? They get home. So they've got to have that opportunity. They've got to create those opportunities to get pressure on Michael Penix, because if you don't, he will hurt you. Watch what he does for Washington offensively, because this guy throws the ball with great leverage, and he's one of the best passers in the country. Their passing game is tremendous. If you don't get to him and he can just sit in the pocket, watch him just attack the slot. He sees a free safety back here, and what does he do? He's got man-to-man coverage in the slot. He doesn't throw him inside leverage, he throws him outside leverage. This is the difference between being a great thrower and a great passer. He's a great passer because he's always missing on the correct side. Look at that ball away from the defender where only his guy can catch it. Gosh, he does such a good job of that. This is one of the reasons why I love his ability and even projecting him towards the next level. Here's a play against Oregon in their first matchup. Watch, they got this nice little stack release, and he's got the win. He sees the man-to-man. He sees the safety kind of with parallel feet. He squats. What does he do? Boom. He throws it over the top with great timing because he's got time. And look at this ball. Perfectly thrown. Great leverage over the top away from the defender where only his guy can get it, and that's a touchdown for the Huskies. These guys are so good throwing the football, but it is incumbent upon them to run the ball early in order to get those looks where you can take advantage of one-on-one or single safety coverage. Okay, so Texas loves to play 2 safeties back and try to stop the run with just their run front and what I would consider kind of a light box. So they've got to be able to run the football. Washington, that's what they did against Oregon. Let me take a look at this run game for Washington, and let me show you what I mean by that. See the 2 safeties for Oregon? They're trying to stay back. Why? Because you want to be able to defend the pass. So you've got this spread type of defense, and now all of a sudden there's really only 6 guys, maybe 5 guys in the run box. You've got to be effective running the football, and that's exactly what Washington was able to do against Oregon in the Pac-12 championship game. Great job getting to the second and third level with those blocks. And look at that, a nice explosive run for a first down. That's what you need. Why? So that you can get the coverage to change. So later in this game, Oregon is going to have to bring a safety down because Washington has been good running the football. You got a bunch set here. You can run the ball out of that. So you bring that near safety down. But then out of the bunch set, you're going to run and kind of explode out of it and throw the ball down the field against a single safety. Now you're creating one-on-ones and a single safety where you can work the middle of the field, and here we go. Penix has got time. He's got a receiver. Boom, he throws with great leverage, and it's a completion for the Huskies. This is what they do so well, and that's what I think is going to work for them against Texas. This is why I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I think Texas is going to be able to run it on early downs. I think they're going to be able to throw it with Ewers. Steve Sarkisian is one of the great play callers and game planners in college football, so I would expect them early in this game to be going fast, score some early touchdowns, and then it's going to be about Penix. Does he have time? Can he bring them back? It's going to be a phenomenal Sugar Bowl. I can't wait to watch that game. Last thing I'll say about these two matchups. For the first time, maybe in the playoffs history, I honestly can make an argument for any of the four teams to not just win this game, but win the entire thing, the national championship. This is going to be a phenomenal playoff. I think anybody could win it. Michigan could win it all. Alabama could win it all. Texas could win it all. Washington could win it all. And for the first time as a college football fan, I'm looking at this and I'm really eager to see what happens. When we come back, though, I do need to talk about the calendar, this dead period that we've just experienced in college football. How do we fix it? And what should we do about it? Because let's face it, it hasn't been fun waiting for these games to pop up, waiting for the college football playoff. Let's fix the calendar when we come back. All right, welcome back to the show. This calendar in college football in so many ways is broken. So can you imagine for a moment, just maybe just picture this. The NFL, they finished their 17th game, okay? So everyone plays, and then we've got this playoff ready to go. The playoffs, they're set. We're excited. And in a lot of ways, the sport's never hotter. Everyone's ready to go. And then the NFL takes a month off and they decide to conduct their NFL draft and have free agency. But they don't do that separately. They just do that all in the same week. Can you imagine that? Of course you can't imagine that, because that would be absolutely insane. And yet that's the insanity that we are in college football. Let me show you what our calendar looks like in the month of December. It's wild. December 2nd this year, we played conference championship games. 2 days later, the transfer portal opened up, and we're going to have early signing day on the 20th. So we're going to have the transfer portal open and commits flying around and try to sign high school recruits all at the same time. That's free agency and the draft all at the same time. What are we doing? Why do we do that? And by the way, we haven't even played the semifinals yet. So January 1st, we're going to get the semifinal games. Then the second the portal closes, because we got to get these kids into school for their spring semester, and then we're going to play the national championship after this. This is a pretty easy fix, okay? The first thing that we need to do is understand that we no longer have the historical bowl season that we used to, that we're going to wait for January 1st, take a bunch of time off for finals, and then play these games and get ready for the spring semester. The world in so many ways in college football has changed, and we need to change and evolve with it. One of the things that we need to do is make sure that our playoff starts right after the regular season ends. So see this December 2nd conference championship games? I want these semifinal games to move all the way up right here, which means you can bump down everything else. Then you would open up the portal and you would have a portal section and period where you can get kids, recruit kids, and get them in for the spring semester. Then we would no longer have early signing day, but we would have traditional signing day, and it would be separate. This would be better for everybody involved. It would be better for fans. It would be better for the health of the sport, because as the sport is at its hottest point late in the regular season, we would just jam right into the playoffs. Okay, so you take all those big ratings and all of that enthusiasm and you continue it into the playoffs. Then you have free agency, transfer portal. Then you have high school signing day, which is the draft. And those players would be able to make decisions with better information. Okay, it wouldn't be this blender of what we have right now. And it would also allow these coaches to, I would say, conduct their business in a more organized manner and build rosters, I think, in a more organized manner as well. So this calendar that we just experienced, we need to throw it out. We need to do something a little bit different in college football. This is not 1980 anymore. Let's start acting like we're in 2023 and beyond, and I think we can do that by fixing the month of December in college football. When I come back here on Breaking the Huddle, let's go out to the internet, see what everyone's saying, and have a little Klattback. All right, let's get a little Klattback in here. Let's head out to the internet, which is great, I think. I don't know. What do you think? Probably not? Well, let's check it out. Let's see what's going on out here. Okay. Ryan says, and Ryan, like would you use that picture on LinkedIn, Ryan? Anyways, he's going to be talking about Malik Murphy. So Malik Murphy is the backup quarterback for Texas. He ended up having to transfer or wanting to transfer because Quinn Ewers looks like is not going to leave. He's got Arch Manning there, and it's like, well, he's stuck, so he needs to transfer to go try to win a job in spring football. But because the portal calendar is broken, like I just talked about, he had to transfer before the playoff, which sucks for him. And Ryan says, not really. He could have transferred after the playoff if he wanted to. Well, no, Ryan, he couldn't. When you were a kid, did you decide to play musical chairs and wait to start the game until the music stopped? Of course you didn't. The transfer portal closes on the 2nd. What is he going to do? Play on the 1st? What if they win? He would have to play in the national championship game. The portal closes on the 2nd. There's also a dead period, Ryan, over the holidays where he can't go visit schools or talk with coaches. So how's he supposed to make an informed decision before spring ball by waiting until the playoff ends? Oh, that's right. He can't. He can't, which is why it's broken in so many ways. Oh, my goodness. Ryan, you seem like a nice guy. I would suggest changing your picture, but you know what? If you don't want to, do you, man, do you. Hey, big thank you to all the college football fans out there. It has been a remarkable season in so many ways. College football has never been more popular, and it's because of you, the college football fan. So thank you for supporting the sport overall and shows like this, Breaking the Huddle. You can follow me on Twitter at Joel Klatt. I hope you enjoy those bowl games, by the way. Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl is going to be unbelievable, and I can't wait for those games. This show, Breaking the Huddle, is brought to you by Dr. Pepper. It is the one fans deserve. Enjoy those games, everybody.